Errors questions can come up in any of your science exams: biology, chemistry, physics, paper 1, paper 2. They've pretty much just got to be about practical questions, questions about experiments. Now, errors are when things go wrong in your experiment. Now, it's not always that it's someone's fault. Things can go wrong for thousands of reasons. Sometimes it's things beyond your control. But what you need to know is there's two main types of errors. They are random errors and systematic errors. There are two main types. Now, random errors are exactly what they sound like. They are random. You can't predict them. They affect individual readings. They're that one time when there was a gust of wind that just affected that one reading. So random errors normally stand out. So let's say I got for an experiment, I got 2. Then the next time I measured it, I got 3. The next time I measured it, I got 2. The next time I measured it, I got 15. And the next time I measured it, I got 2. Well, that stands out. Something's gone wrong with that one. So there's where my error happened. Now, a lot of students will say human error as an answer. Never say human error. You will not get any marks for human error because it's not clear enough. Say what the error was. Say the student accidentally touched the thermometer against this, or the student accidentally spilt some of the soil sample before they weighed it. They're all random errors. Human errors are random errors, but always describe what it is. But random errors affect individual readings. Systematic errors are errors with your method. That means something is going wrong every time you make a reading. You've clamped a ruler in place and not realized that that ruler's wonky. So therefore, every reading is going to be wrong because that ruler is wonky every time. Now, systematic errors are hard to see because every reading's affected. So let's say I got 6, 7, 6, 6, 7 as my repeat readings. They would look really good. They're all close together. But I wouldn't know that I should have got 2, 3, 2, 2, 3 because every reading's affected. Every reading's too big. Now, errors questions are very specific to the practicals they're about. So there's no point in me going through thousands of them. But I'll show you a type of question that could come up. So this question, a student investigated the mass of dissolved solids in water samples. The diagram below shows the apparatus used. We've got an evaporating basin, beaker, Bunsen burner, water sample, boiling water, but this one stands out. Why have they bothered to draw the droplets of water from the steam from the boiling water and label it? That's not something you would label because it's not something that an experimenter have to go away and get. Now, if we then look at the actual question, one error is that droplets of water collect on the bottom of the evaporating basin. So that's why they've labelled it. They're trying to make a point of it. Suggest how this error affects the mass of the evaporating basin and contents. Well, there's extra water on the bottom. Extra water's only going to make it heavier. So suggest how will this affect the mass. The mass will be bigger than it should be. Then it says, how can this error be corrected? Well, I don't want droplets of water on the bottom of the basin, so I'll need to dry them off. So dry off the bottom of the basin before weighing it. Finally, it says another error in the method is that not all the water was removed from the water sample. How can this error be corrected? Well, not all the water was removed. They're implying they want all of the water removed. That's why they're boiling it. They're trying to get rid of the water to see the massive dissolved solids in it. So I've just got to go through these and work out, well, how can I make it so all the water is removed? Adding more boiling water, well, that's not going to help remove it. Heat until the mass of the evaporating and content is constant. Well, yeah, if I keep heating it till it stops changing, well, it must have stopped changing because there's no water left. So it could be that one. But I'll check the last one. Stir the water sample in the evaporating basin with a glass rod. Well, that's not going to help get rid of any excess water. Done. So it's got to be the middle one. Now, there is one other type of error you need to know about, and that's a zero error. Zero errors are systematic errors. So this is a type of systematic error. It would affect all your readings. Now, zero errors occur when your measuring instrument doesn't read zero when it should. It makes every reading, every reading too high or too low. So I'll show you an example. A student determined the density of a cube made of bronze. The student used a balance to measure the mass of the bronze cube. Figure 1 shows the balance before the cube was added. So before the cube was added, there is nothing on this balance and it's already reading 4.2. It should be reading 0. So it is a zero error. How could the student get a correct value for the mass of the cube from the balance? There are 2 possible answers for this one. I would only ever give the examiner 1 because they've only asked me for 1. But one possible answer is, well, I could just reset the balance. Balances normally have a button on them called 0 or tear that resets it back to 0. That's one possible answer. Now, the other possible answer, but remember, only give them 1 if they ask for 1. The other possible answer is I could minus 4.2 grams from every reading. If I know it's 4.2 too high, I could just take it away. Another example, because it's not just balances that can suffer from zero errors, this is when a voltmeter was not connected. It gave a reading of 0.4 volts. Well, if it's not connected, it should read 0. This is a zero error. How can the student correct all the readings taken from the voltmeter? Well, if it's reading 0.4 too high, I need to make it 0.4 lower. So adding's not going to help. Dividing's not going to help. Multiplying's not going to help. I need to subtract 4 from every reading. And one final zero error question to show you again, it's not even just digital things. The Newton meter in figure 2 will give an error when used to make a measurement. Name the error. Well, there's nothing on the Newton meter and it doesn't read 0. So there is a problem with it 0. It is a zero error. Correction. Again, there's 2 possible answers, but I would only give them 1. They've only asked me for 1. So I could reset the Newton meter. Or I could, I think this goes up in ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah, 20. So I could, that's one possible answer. I could minus 1 from every reading. But remember, if they've asked you for one answer, only give one answer. Because if I made a mistake in my second one, it could cancel the mark out entirely, even if my first answer was correct. So that's how you do errors questions.